What's up everyone, ODC, it's me here. In today's review we're going to take a look at Star Wars The Black Series Baze Malbus action figure. This is number 37 in the line, and this is obviously from the Rogue One, a Star Wars movie. This is a really cool character, one of my favorites from the movie, Chirrut being my favorite. But these two had a good, I guess you can call it Abbott and Costello. I wouldn't say literally Abbott and Costello, but a good teaming up nonetheless, a little play off of each other throughout the movie. Moving the figure aside for a second, here's the packaging really quick. Sorry for the screech. I like the new style packaging, giving the artwork a little bit more room to be displayed. It is number 37 in the line. And here's a little read-up of Baze Malbus. Focus. If it'll focus. There we go. And that's pretty much the packaging. Bringing the figure back in here. Taking a look at the figure. The head sculpt isn't too bad, to be honest with you. I think the paint apps could have been a little bit better. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the end result. I have seen some customizers repaint this head and make it look so much better, but I don't think it's really too bad. I think Hasbro did a pretty decent job for a $20 figure. It's not bad at all. The hair sculpt looks really good. I like the way they did the little ponytails, or hair ties, I should say, right there. And the two braids in the front. I think that looks really good. The armor going around the collar looks really nice right there, especially on the shoulder pads, or on the shoulder pad, I should say, singular. The canister right here, this is actually his ammunition canister. This is actually an exhaust port right here, because of the high rate of fire of this repeater cannon. That's what it is. It's a repeater cannon. But looks pretty cool. It does connect. It does come in 3 parts. Originally, this actually comes in separate. The gun portion comes in separate. Then the ammunition chain comes in a separate piece. And then the canister is a separate piece as well that plugs right into his back. They are all easy to install. This is a pliable plastic right here. I have noticed from moving this around that there is a little bit of a stress on some of this, so I would just recommend that you be a little bit careful with how this is bent. I could see over time that this is eventually going to snap off and maybe possibly break. Hopefully it doesn't anytime soon, but I could see that ending up happening in the future. As far as all the paint applications go on him, I would say the weak sauce on this figure is probably the head sculpt, or not the head sculpt, but the head paint, or the face paint, I should say. A little bit, the eyes could have been done a little bit better. The skin tone's okay. The facial hair could have been done a little bit better as well. It's a little bit off. There's also a scar on his cheek, if you can see. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's right here. There's supposed to be a scar right there, and it's not filled in or painted in on his left cheek. But for the most part, for a $20 figure, it's pretty well done. I do want to point out the rest of the paint applications, which are on the legs. There's a light shading going throughout the legs and the rest of his bodysuit here. Including the arms, the chest, and both legs. It's not overdone, which is nice, because I have seen some customizers kind of go wacko crazy and make a figure look greasy, like he was just rolling around through the grease or mud, which I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, it's okay to have some, like Hasbro did right here on here, but too much paint shading can make a figure look almost worse at points. I mean, this is pretty much all you can do for the splits. That's it. This is him maxed out right here. So that's really something to be found of wanting is him doing the splits better than this. That's pretty atrocious, and it also causes a lot of problems when you're trying to get him to take a knee or bend a knee and have him look down the sights. It really does affect his stance. The other thing that really affects his stance is the fact that we've got this plastic molded shroud or cape or whatever you want to call it wrapped around his canister here. It does get in the way when you want him to kneel. It kind of props him up. So what I had to do was I had to actually fold this and prop this underneath the canister like so I could get him to take a knee. And you'll see that in the photos at the end of the review. But for the most part, I mean, I'm kind of torn. I don't think he's the nicest figure in the wave. Sure, he's got a lot going on, but don't let that distract you from the things that he can't do, which is a lot, besides kind of stand there with his gun. It's kind of tough to get him to look down the sights, because when you do attempt to do that, this hose wants to pop out, this hose wants to pop out, and you're putting a lot of stress on these in-between hoses on the ammo belt here. I'll just call it that. I don't know the technical term. If you want to let me know in the comments below, go ahead, but that's the big drawback to this, is that he just kind of wants to stand around and hold his gun. He doesn't really want to do much with it. Sure, you can eventually get him to look down the sights, but it's kind of a hassle to do that, and I just wish it was a little bit easier. They would have found a little bit of a different way to get him to do this, or a little bit better engineering. I mean, he can look down the sights, as you can see here, that I'm getting him to do that, but the problem with that is that something always wants to pop off, see? And that doesn't even look proper. Like, his elbow should be bent more, and his head, this should be closer to his head. I don't know. And technically, I mean, you could use the argument that since it is a larger repeater cannon, that he can just go from hip fire, but he does look down the sights in the movie, so especially when Chirrut is taking on all those stormtroopers. But he is very back heavy. Just something, it's a pet peeve with me. If I can't get a figure to do what the other figure in the line can do, it really kind of bothers me. And there's no reason why he can't do the splits. The other problem with him is that these pouches really do get in the way when you're trying to get him to take a knee stance or bend the knee. As far as Baze Malbus's articulation does go, his head can swivel full 360 rotation. It can't look up really due to the sculpt of the hair. Can look down a little bit. Can pivot side to side. Arms go up about that far, down, full 360 rotation. He does have a single bend at the elbow, swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, hinge that goes back and forth. This side goes up and down. He does have a swivel at the diaphragm. It can crunch back a little bit, and it can crunch forward a little bit, but nothing too crazy, to be honest with you. And it can tilt. No, it can't really tilt side to side either. These are the splits right here. This is it. So that's very unfortunate and very disappointing. So definitely thumbs down for that. Legs go forward about that far, and not the best range of motion either, to be honest with you. Upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, ankle hinge which goes forward about that far. That's it. Does point the toe nicely. Ankle pivot. And that's pretty much it with Baze Malbus as far as his articulation goes. He's just a kind of a frustrating, good-looking figure. I mean, he looks good. He's the right size. I think the paint applications are pretty decent on him. He just really can't do much. I'd say the best range of motion in the body is probably the knees and the elbows. And then after that, it's pretty much thumbs down. He does have this little, I'm not sure what this is, maybe a communicator of some sort, but it does just plug right into his back and you can remove it. I'm not really sure 100% what it is. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments. Thank you if you do. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for Baze here. I'll just attach this canister back on him. There's not really much else to say about this guy. Besides, I don't know. To me, he's kind of a letdown, but it's a personal preference thing. Compared to the other figures in the wave, and that's the only reason I'm saying what I'm saying, is that he just, he doesn't want to do much besides just kind of stand around. And he's supposed to be an action figure. I mean, and he's got a hard time standing too. But, I mean, if I can get Cassian to do this, there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to do the same thing Cassian can do. Come on, focus. But, so, I mean, this is unacceptable by any means. I've seen dollar store figures that have better split action than this. Look what Jen can do compared to him. I mean, here's Chirrut. Here's his buddy Chirrut. Does affect, I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments saying, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to do splits. The body, the human body needs to be able to do that to balance the figure out properly. It does. It's just the way physics, the physics of the figure are meant to be. You're supposed to be able to do the splits, to be able to get that extra range of motion, to be able to do other poses, not just about doing kicks and stuff like that. So that's what you have to take into account when you're talking about being able to do the splits like that. It's an effective form of being an action figure. All other action figures have it. Oops, see, that's what I'm talking about. He doesn't. And there is like a sweet spot where I have found with him standing, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. That canister really wants to weigh him down, and it's really a damn shame because he looks so good standing. He really does look good. But that's pretty much it. Do a couple size comparisons here. Here is Captain Cassian from the Target exclusive 3-pack. Jen Urso is going to be really small. Here she is. She is like a little kid almost compared to them. And then here we go. We have his brother, or his buddy, I shouldn't say brother, his buddy Chirrut. And there's your size comparisons in here. Okay, so final thoughts are, a part of me wants to say pass on it, but I don't know if we're going to get another figure of Baze Malbus that's in this scale with Black Series, unless we get a Figure Arts, which usually run a little bit smaller. But if we do happen to get a Figure Arts Baze Malbus, I'll probably pick that up, maybe sell this and get that. I mean, part of me really likes this figure, and a part of me is very disappointed. So that's my point. I'm sticking to it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.